My name's Antoinette Cauley. I'm a fine artist, specifically a painter. I specialize in portrait work. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, which is also where I'm based out of. It's where my art studio is. I've been a full-time artist for 4 or 5 years now, but I have been a working artist my entire life. So this is nothing new for me. I've been making art since I was a baby. There's so many different things that happen here that really paint a picture to the depth of like the racism and discrimination that exists in Arizona. Like, you know, when Martin Luther King Day was a holiday, then it wasn't a holiday, and then it was a holiday, and like, you know, why should that even be a back and forth thing, you know? Or the stop and frisk laws where if you look Mexican, or, you know, you can get stopped. There's just so much that happens here. I mean, Sheriff Joe Arpaio is just all encompassing, like just a great example of like the level of racism that we have here. Once I became an artist, like a full-time working artist, that was when I realized kind of the full scope of what it means to be Black living in Phoenix, Arizona. That was when I started to face like discrimination within my career. That was when I realized that there aren't as many opportunities for people with my skin color.
So my name is Jason Harvey. I'm a real estate developer in Phoenix. I met Antoinette probably a year and a half ago. One of the buildings that I'm part owner of is the Mount Orchid building in Roosevelt Row, and she had an incredible exhibition there in the gallery, man. It was a lot of young children reimagined as rappers. Just really fell in love with a couple of the paintings, and the last night there was one available. Had a chance to meet her and speak with her a little bit about it, and just had to have it, and bought that first painting from her. And you know, since then commissioned a few others, and just gotten to know her over the years.
So the protests were happening and emotions were high. Like, I know what I was experiencing wasn't unique. I know so many Black Americans were experiencing the same emotions, like the anger, the frustration, the sorrow. There were certain levels of disassociation with everything that was happening. Lots of resentment for people who now were reaching out to me and now wanted to work with me and now wanted to you know, commission me for a mural, Black Lives Matter mural, or, you know, what have you. There were just so many different emotions, and I was fighting to not become the token Black artist. I had always heard about that in the fine arts industry, but never experienced it until the protests started happening. So I was actually getting ready to fly to Houston, or to Chicago, to help my sister move to Houston, and Jason called me.
I just called Antoinette up, you know, and just said, Antoinette, we got to do something. Like, are you busy? You have time to work on a project, you know? And she's used to me calling her like, hey, can you paint me this, like, you know, I'm thinking about like this Jay-Z, Beyonce, like, you know, hey, can you get another Nipsey, like little things like that are awesome, but not on this scale, I think. And this one I was calling her was something really more powerful and I think bigger than probably we both knew at the time. The protests were happening, right? And marches were happening downtown Phoenix over the murder of George Floyd and, you know, anti-police brutality. One of the things I wanted to do was just, I've got a building, you know, own part of a building right downtown, right in the center of it all, you know, at Central and Roosevelt, and marches were happening, going by. It was hot out, and I just thought, you know, something that would be good is, you know, people are thirsty. Get some water, get a few hundred water bottles, a few hundred Gatorade bottles, set up shop and just hand them out to marchers that are marching and just show some support and let them know we appreciate their support. I was there on that first day and just staring at this building, you know, and I'm like, man, I'm one of the owners of that building. It's just this blank 9-story wall of glass. And just in that moment, I was like, this has to be something different. There needs to be something here.
So he originally threw out Martin Luther King, like maybe you could do a painting of him and we could put it on this building. And, you know, at the time he's telling me this and I'm getting it, right? But I'm not fully processing just how massive this is gonna be, both like literally and metaphorically. Like, I couldn't comprehend that, just because there's so many emotions going on. So, you know, he asked me if it was something that I felt good about, felt passionate about, wanted to do, and, you know, yes, 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 all around. So we talked for a few days, and MLK just, you know, MLK, amazing human being, but we felt like the image of him would just be so recognizable that, you know, it wouldn't really cause it wasn't like an educational opportunity, because we all know Martin Luther King really well, you know? So we threw out so many names, like who would be, you know, a great person that we could put up there that would stop people and make them say, like, who is that? Let me research, you know? So we threw out a ton of names, and I thought back to a trip I took to Paris back in December was when I left, and I took this Black Parisian history tour, and he taught me about James Baldwin on this tour, because James Baldwin, you know, left America to escape racism and moved to Paris. So that it just kept ringing in my mind, and I was like, you know, how about James Baldwin? And he had been thinking the same thing.
It's an endeavor to plaster the, you know, the side of a 9-story building with anything, right? There's a company called BLUEMEDIA. They took this painting, in fact, scan it into a really high-res photo or image, and basically print it off like the size of a building.
HARLAN Roberts with BLUEMEDIA, and fortunate to work with local real estate developer Jason Harvey on the project of bringing this fantastic Antoinette Cauley painting to life on the side of the 1001 building in downtown Phoenix. A little bit about how that came to fruition is Jason reached out to me and said, is this possible? I want to have this painting commissioned by Antoinette of James Baldwin, but I don't know how to take a painting and put it on the side of a building. I said, no problem, we can help. We've done this innumerable times across the country. So it was as simple as Antoinette painting the painting.
So, you know, working on this painting, I was very much just in my element. It was about creating something beautiful and powerful and strong to share with everyone. Once we settled on a photo, then I took that and created a sketch. I messed around with colors and tried to figure out which colors I wanted to use, and I landed on red with some orange like undertones, because the building's blue, the sky is blue behind it. I wanted something that'd be powerful and pop. And red is also such a symbolic color for me. It's like my power color. So once the sketch was done, we talked about the size of the actual painting. How big do we want it to be? You know, he wanted it as big as we could go. So I found the 6 foot by 5 foot canvas, picked it up. I set up in the Pemberton house, and I spent about a month working on it. You know, it's layers and layers and layers of color.
We picked up the painting, scanned it in, created a high-res image, took that image, blew it up to the size of the building that we had previously measured. The panels are printed in 53-inch wide sections so that they're manageable by the installers. The building is then cleaned prior to installation, so we get the best adhesion for the material. And then the installation was done overnight.
So, you know, when the night came for BLUEMEDIA to start installing the actual mural, it was just this overwhelming feeling of like, wow, like we're actually doing this. Like a lot of gratitude, so much love. By that time we had already announced it, and the response was overwhelmingly amazing. We had planned a toast that night because this was, you know, such a huge moment in history for this city. So we definitely had to have a champagne toast and celebrate that.
My name is Joe Dominguez. I'm the install lead at BLUEMEDIA for pressure sensitive vinyl. We wanted to do the install in a night shift because it's 115 during the day, and with the perforated vinyl, it just wasn't gonna happen. It turns into jelly basically, and it gets really hot for you. So we decided to start at 8 o'clock at night, and in a 120-foot lift with 2 guys, one operating, one installing. And we decided to go up, hit the glass at around 8:30.
Once it was actually complete was when it hit me. Like, I'll never forget pulling into the parking lot at 5:20 in the morning and looking up, and, you know, I was, you know, the whole way there, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna cry. I'm too tired. And I get there and I just like bawled because it was real. Like, it was there. Like, wow.
I didn't think I was gonna cry. Should have known better. This is crazy. It looks so good. Wow.
What you thinking?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm so tired right now. I can't even like, can't even fully process this yet.
There's so many ups and downs with being a full-time artist, especially as a Black woman with absolutely no blueprint, no idea what I'm doing. Like, I've had to just learn as I go. So to be able to accomplish something like this was, whew, this changes everything. Like, this isn't just about me. Like, I want so many other Black artists in the city to have opportunities like this because of this. Like, I want people to wake up because of this.
We conquered it row by row, window by window, and we had 1 through 12, A, B, C, about 25-foot rolls. And you know, when you're up there at the very top in that first row of glass, in the 120-foot lift maxed out, you're bouncing around, and you know, it's you're in for quite the ride, trying not to touch the building, but be close enough to where you can touch the building.
My name is BIANNCA Dominguez, and I have come on to help with the James Baldwin project on just some marketing and public relations efforts, as well as just some project management. For me, I don't think I've ever felt so much joy watching someone else experience so much joy. I'm probably gonna cry now, actually, but you know, in this short period of time, Antoinette and I have had such an amazing opportunity to really bond and get to know each other on a very deep level, because it was important to me that I understood where the inspiration came from and what she's experienced as an artist thus far and what she's trying to accomplish. And also just to see someone's dream come true, like from start to finish, and to be a part of that was so incredible. And I really, truly feel like it's a moment in history, and it deserves to be treated that way.
When I went into this, I went into it with a lot of intention, and I wanted to create like a literal, not literal, but I wanted to create a mirror, like this 9-story mirror that kids could look at and see pieces of themselves, even if they didn't realize that they were looking at themselves, you know? But I wanted them to see the possibilities and the opportunities that exist if you just keep going. There hasn't been, up until a couple months ago, any images of Black people downtown, like anywhere. It's powerful to not only have an image like that, but to have it done by a Black person, a Black woman. Extremely powerful. That's breaking so many barriers. There aren't, like, Black women are like the least represented population in the fine arts industry. So to do something like this in a city like Phoenix is, I don't think anyone could have imagined this happening. You know what I mean? So this absolutely needs to be here. Parents need to be able to bring their kids so they can see a reflection of themselves. Like, I never had that example growing up of a Black woman artist or a Black artist or anything like that. So I think about how much further I could have been now, you know, if I would have had that example. So now these kids, they won't have to yearn for that, because it's there. Like, I'm making sure it's there for them. So that's why it's so important for this next generation of Black kids, and not just Black artists, but Black kids in general. Like, this screams to them that they're important. They're important enough to be plastered on a 9-story building in the heart of downtown Phoenix.